House prices in the big cities are falling. Buyers' hopes are rising, but the reality is sobering.
People are talking about prices falling, but it does seem like mission impossible if you want to buy a house to have to save a 20% deposit.
And then when the banks won't finance it, you're like, what do I do? Win lotto?
Karen and Roger Stern are frustrated. They want to move out of their cramped high-rise unit in Sydney's southeast.
It's quite small now with an 18-month-old. We'd really like some more space and probably a backyard for Zachary as well.
Falling house prices aren't making the job any easier.
It's pretty much a paper exercise because our property then goes down and house prices go down. So it's really the same as when our property was worth more and houses were more. It's really the same.
Let's get your shoes on.
The Sterns don't want to move away from this part of Sydney because both Roger's work and Karen's mother's nursing home are nearby. But they can't get a big enough loan to afford a house in the area.
For us, you got a limit and that's it. And so you find the right place and go great, and then you miss out.
I don't think it's unreasonable what we're looking for. I think what's unreasonable is the banks just won't give you the finance to allow you to grow, I guess.
A crackdown on high-risk lending in the wake of the Royal Commission into the banking sector has arguably made it harder for some home seekers.
From what our members tell us, and these are the ordinary real estate agents who are working out there on the street, they are telling us that loans are being rejected, whereas 12 months ago, those same sorts of buyers wouldn't have been.
But there are other obstacles as well.
Existing homeowners tend to delay selling in a flat market or falling markets. They wait until prices are rising again, then they sell and trade up to the new property. So there simply isn't that many opportunities to buy for aspiring homeowners at the moment.
The Sterns have one income. Roger works in the automotive industry, and wages aren't keeping up with the cost of living.
It's a huge concern because the ability to make more money, to be able to spend more money, it's like there's a freeze on what you can earn, but yet everything else is going up.
Figures released today by the Real Estate Institute of Australia show a continuing decline in housing affordability over the last quarter, and nearly a 6% drop in first home buyers over the year.
It's still very difficult for first home buyers to access the market, largely because they need to find a sizable deposit which needs to be paid up front. They generally need to pay government stamp duty as well, which also needs to be paid up front. And a lot of those first home buyers also need to access some sort of mortgage insurance. And it's very difficult for them to access all of that large amount of money at the one time.
And there's no sign in the coming years that the proportion of average income to house prices will drop.
But if you look at long time periods, they tend to go up and up persistently in the long run. So you get a small correction, but the overall trend is upwards.
Professor Chris Leishman and his team have forecast the number of households that will need housing or rental assistance in the coming years, and it's bad news for the most populous states. In New South Wales, the number is predicted to jump nearly 80% over an 8-year period to just under 700,000 by 2025. The rate of increase is slightly lower in Victoria, but still pushing the 500,000 mark over the same time period, while housing need in Queensland and the rest of Australia remains relatively stable.
There's worry actually that Australia's largest cities have become too large. There's an ongoing research program looking at this very issue actually. Has the unaffordability of housing and the congestion of larger cities, is it now undermining economic growth?
Compared to my parents and grandparents, they still had to save a deposit to be able to buy a home, but as a proportion of their income it was much less. And today you do need 2 high incomes to be able to pay back a mortgage.
Local government worker Megan Reinwald is starting to save for a deposit, but she finds Melbourne's house prices horrifying.
It does seem like prices are falling because everyone's talking about it on the news, but still a 1-bedroom apartment with a garage as well would be $800,000, and that's definitely not possible for me to afford.
There is some good news, a possible window of opportunity when the economy picks up, and that's what the Sterns are counting on.
When I guess the economy gets a bit better, and then we maybe we'll have a chance. But at the moment, it's very, everything's very tight for everyone.
So there may be an opportunity, perhaps in a year or 18 months, a slight pause in the market where it's actually more accessible for aspiring homeowners. But then, unfortunately, the price growth is likely to continue into the long run.
I think if we can't find an affordable house at the moment nearby, then we just got to stay put in our unit and just be very cosy.
And if you're having a tough time as a home buyer or seller and would like to share your experience, drop us a line at 7:30 at abc.net.au.